Good morning, Animators. I bet you didn't know I knew Taekwondo. Good morning, Animators. Welcome to the soup. I just actually recorded myself drawing all these poses, talking about so many things. I'm so long-winded, and I went off topic many times. And then when I went back to look at the footage, I realized that I had been recording with my webcam microphone. And so we're just gonna go back and try and figure out what I was even trying to say in the first place. So I do practice Taekwondo. I'm a 40-year-old desk jockey, so I'm certainly not on my way to nationals anytime soon. I have a lot of health problems that lend themselves to joint issues, and I'm really clumsy. I still am having so much fun learning Taekwondo. So this is the pattern I have to learn for my next belt test. And I thought, what way would be better to practice some posing just to get warmed up while also studying for my exam, which I'm hoping to take in the spring. So here we have a pattern. So Taekwondo, you memorize different patterns to show that you really understand the techniques, and you do it in a slow and controlled way. So let me just play this while I'm talking. So you take your time moving between each motion in a very precise way so that not only are you conditioning your muscles in a very full body range of motion way, but also it's showing that you understand the precision of each technique, where you put your feet, where your hips are facing, where your hands are facing, your head is facing. So a lot of the people who are interested in things like jujitsu or the martial arts that are more combative, more martial oriented, or like something you're going to take to MMA, they think that this looks ridiculous. But for me, as an artist, it is extremely gratifying to really take my time and work through every single pose and iteration and understand where the weight is shifting and where the different pieces are turning, because you can use every piece of that when you're animating. One of the most important things you can have if you want to be a traditional animator is control over where your different body parts are. Young Sinatra asked, I would love a video where you go over some of your methods to speed up traditional 2D animation. So this video didn't end up being like a step-by-step, here's a list of things. I think I should actually, if you have things that you think belong on that list, let me know, and I'm going to do a better video about explaining that. But this in particular, understanding how to move bodies in space, I think is a very powerful tool that you can build for yourself, among other things. And we'll work on putting a list together. So let's think about what I was thinking about. I wanted to make this a little bit more interesting and challenging for myself, so I actually rotated the character like this. So in my reference, the camera is facing the character this way. So if you're new to doing something like this, then you want your camera to be in the same spot. Ideally, you want a lock camera. So whether you do something like Taekwondo or a dancer or just a character, someone walking or something like that, try to find something with a fixed camera. I am rotating the camera just this much, 45 degrees to the right. I have a little X on the ground, which I have kept the whole way along because it's showing me the direction of the character, or the, this fellow. The uniform, especially the black belt uniform in Taekwondo, has these stripes that help you see the movement of the body. So here, his belt knot, whether the character is turning this way, this is the way the hips are facing because the knot is facing that way. And if the character is going to turn, then they're going to go this way, right? So finding these landmarks on the character is really going to help. I look at the belt for my character. We've turned him, so his belt is here. I'm going to use a little, we've all seen the animators do this kind of trick. That's where our hips and our shoulders are. In my next pose, I watched through to see where my next key should be. So as he starts moving, his hands are coming up and he goes down and his weight starts shifting over onto this right foot. So once we get down to the bottom, he starts shifting over and then this foot is going to lift. So I'm going to use this as the next key because after this, he starts moving up again. This is like the apex of my movement is down here. Hips and shoulders go down. The hands go up. So I'm treating the hands like little blocks, and you can add a little thumb like this and the fingertips on the block. So that's the easiest way I find for doing this. And then you can add a little thumb over here so that you know that this is the pinky side. We want this to go straight down. The feet are going to stay in the same spot, but the knees are going to come out. So here we have boop, boop, boop. If we wanted to be really meticulous, we could do this. Take the bottom part of the foot, cut it off at the knee. We're going to rotate this, and we're going to rotate this. Figure out where our knee would be. Boop, boop, boop. So I can actually bring my knee out a little farther, like that. And we can do the same thing for the near leg. So I'm just thinking each of these pieces are cylinders, like this. And you go from straight cylinder leg like that to a bent cylinder leg like that. So that might be happening in the back of my head where I'm doing something a little bit more like external, but this is what's going on underneath there. And then we are going to shift all the weight over onto our right leg and come straight up and do the hand prep for the next move. So I'm going to, again, look for the key moment where everything starts to change. So this is all coming up, up, up. And then he starts to step out. So I'm going to just go straight up here into the hand prep. And we've gained quite a bit of volume in this. So let's clean this guy up. But we're going to keep thinking about this simple stuff underneath. That's what's going to hold our situation together, is boop, boop. And here again, you can notice the knot and how that's telling you the story. So I didn't make a new layer, boop. Hips are straight at us. So, you know, if we were to draw our cylinder, it would probably look something like this, like we're looking at the front of it. No, the torso is about the same as the hips. So maybe we're looking straight at that torso too. Boop, boop. So we're going to think about our torsos in here. This leg is going to be straight. It has not moved off the floor, so we can just straight trace that, but we are coming back up. Boot, doot. Don't do kind of a wishy-washy corner. Like either do straight or do bent when you're doing your rough keys or animating, because, you know, having something that's super duper subtle, I mean, it's really elegant and stuff, but when you're smashing down those keys initially, I think it pays off more to be really confident about your choices. We're actually going to look at the front of his head like this, and this knee is coming towards the camera. So let's see, we're just going to create a little cylinder, have a little cylinder showing that this is back away from the camera. And we're going to lift our foot up off the ground. Boop. We want to put this right in front of the chest. So I'm going to use my little block to draw my hand. It doesn't need to be perfect. The top hand is also it's pretty straight out. So our elbow is going to be here, and we can look at how the lines on the clothes are going to help us. Boop, boop, and the dobok flares. So we used our simple shapes to find everything we needed, and then wha-cha. So that's the final key. And of course, we're looking at it from a 45-degree angle. So we're still looking at the front of this torso. Our cylinder is kind of that way. We're going back in space a little bit from here to our belt. Leaning forward a little bit. The hips, you can see the knot of his belt is facing this way. Boop. So let's just boop, keep those straight. This knee is coming straight towards the camera in our reference. So it is going along the line that we have on the floor here. This is our knee. Right? Cylinder is going that way. And then we can use the lines on the floor as well to figure out how far over our foot is, because there's a very specific amount of distance that this foot is meant to be on the floor. So you want to have enough of a bend that it shows, because we either want to do a bend or we want to do a straight. We don't want something that's kind of like super duper subtle. Boop, boop. Okay, so we're going to look at our head as a little block like this, and our shoulder is connected out here. The elbow, you can see, is at his hairline. And then the palm of the hand is facing this way, so we think of it as a little block again. Right? Little block, slightly that way, and we're going to just boop. And then this hand is in here a little bit. Have this coming toward us. See, like a little cylinder. We have another little cylinder going up. They're overlapping. Cylinder. And then the hand, boop, is a knife hand. Boop. So in Taekwondo, you have a fist, which is a little block, and then you have the knife hand, which you can break up like this. Okay, so think of the hand as very, very simple shapes. And as long as you have the angle of it right, you can go back in later and you can make it look more like a hand. Y'all. So that's how we use simple shapes, moving around like a hip cylinder and a shoulder cylinder, thinking of all our stuff as really blocky items to help us understand where our character is moving and how to arrange it in space. Boop, boop, boop. Once we get here, then it's a matter of workflow. So we've got our character proportional and doing pretty good. We're going to do tie down. We're going to make it, instead of just having this character, this like random collection of shapes and forms, we're going to do what we need to do to have this character be on model. Then once our character is on model, we can do the in-betweens, but not before. Doot, 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 doot. I'm not going to in-between this because I'm just practicing my posing. So that is how I get the initial poses. And drawing a character proportionally is a really big struggle for you. Practice your proportions. If moving a character's torso and hips and stuff around in space is really giving you a lot of trouble, draw box people. You don't need to draw a full character. It doesn't need to be a super elaborate, exciting character. Practice with the simplest stuff you can until that stuff makes sense. And then over time, you cannot skip the time it takes practicing. But if you put in the time to practice, then you can move on to like drawing things from different angles from the camera, rotating just one pose. So let's say we have this pose here that we really like. A little bit too big. Boop, 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 boop. So this is a good way to practice moving your character around in space. Because once you have more control over that, then it's a matter of thinking about your posing, your weight, your acting, action, all of those things start to come into play because you're not battling with your inability to just move the body in space. It takes a lot of time, perspective, gesture drawing. All of those things are going to help you have that flexibility so that then you can move on to the next step. So I think this like is a long-winded way to saying that the best way you can get faster is by understanding your fundamentals. I should make an intro because I didn't know what I was going to say until I was done. Yeah! Hopefully that was helpful. So I just want to thank everybody for your engagement on my last couple videos. I'm still I'm still hitting way higher, 10,000 more views than usual. I mean, that's on me. I've been neglecting this channel. It's really my bad. I got some really interesting and engaging comments. Some are really super sweet. It's always important to remember that this industry doesn't thrive on being boring, but on people who live life through a more refined and, if possible, joyful lens to create something new. That's so beautiful. Paul King Motion. I've been subscribed to your channel for a couple years now, and I learned a lot from you. Anytime somebody says that my videos have helped them either career-wise or just for fun or just like to figure out something they couldn't figure out. Like that makes me the happiest person alive. So thank you for everybody who has been leaving comments, just letting me know that my channel made a difference to you. Y'all are giving me life right now. So Pulking Motion, I'm actually wrapping up a show that will be on Roku and Tubi very soon called Brightly's World. So whenever you see little dust boost snow trails or little frame-by-frame touches in the snow, just know that it was you who taught me those skills and I really appreciate it. So thank you. That is the cutest. Everybody go see Brightly's World and look for the poofs. We must find the poofs in these trying times. Thank you for the videos. It's a weird time to be teaching animation, like, right? At my age now, like there are a lot of people in my demographic who have been teaching animation. And it's like, what are we teaching them for? But, you know, the industry, it's changing, but it's not disappearing. Something is coming out of this that is going to be creative and about, you know, bringing visual information into magical storytelling. Everything that you know, like I learned to draw on paper. We don't use paper, but those drawing skills are still applicable, okay? Even if you end up working in another industry, being able to tell a story and captivate people and look at things in different ways and being creative is actually really applicable to a lot of different industries. I mean, you could get into marketing, you could get into industrial design, you could get into medical illustration, you could get into so many different things that are not, maybe not the thing that you thought you were going to be doing, but are still really creative and exciting. Teach them the best you can, and they're going to find their way. Everything that you learn has value. Why don't you create indie studios, indie projects instead of looking for jobs? I am trying to build something in the background. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition. I want to do more with Stylus Rumble. I have some things that are cooking. I don't know what's going to happen. Honestly, most of this, like coming back here, is just me trying to get myself out of bed and like get myself working. Because without a deadline, without external pressure, I fall apart. I love working for a studio because someone just dumps too much work on my desk and I just have this huge list of tasks I can just tackle. And I don't need to think about what to do. I just need to open it up and do it. So this is new for me. This is new. I'm very insecure about it. And lastly, I am at 24,545 subscribers. What should I do for 25,000? What should I do? I think we need to celebrate. I'm going to celebrate. Help me figure out what the best way to celebrate 25,000 is going to be, because it's going to happen someday. And that's it. How long is this? Oh, I got to trim this up. Whoa. This is too long. Thanks for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe, all those things internet people ask you to do. And I will see you in the next video.